usually that's the part that everybody skips in their vocal journey. They like learn the vocal techniques so they can hit high notes, they can hit low notes, they can kind of like mix in the middle too. And then they go straight to artistry.
One of my favorite things about like my college studies was of learning all these different styles was I would approach it and be like, okay, yes, it's a jazz song, but how do I sound like a jazz singer to sing this jazz song? Okay, that's a pop punk song. How do I sing this like a pop punk singer?
Yep.
Which
It's
is
the
just so fun
nuances.
because
It's the details.
now like I was saying and people are like, you're such like, oh my gosh, are you like, do you do this all the time? And I'm like, no, I actually do everything. And they're like, what?
Yeah. Hey Voxstar, and welcome to From Singer to Artist. I'm Lara Chapman, award-winning singer and songwriter turned viral vocal coach and the host of this show. At VoxTape Studios, we help singers from all over the world level up their voices by teaching them the 3 fundamental skills all singers need: technique, awareness, and artistry. Whether you're looking to go pro or just develop your voice for fun, my team and I are here to help. Check the link in the description to book your first session or grab some of our other resources. Alrighty, are you ready? Let's get started. Today we have another one of our amazing coaches on our team here in the studio with me. Hello, Coach Bri.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to Indy. Not your first time here, but welcome back. Glad to have you. Obviously, glad to have you on the team as one of our coaches. You do a lot of different things, but in our new Singer to Artist Transformation program, you're doing the middle part, which is all about dynamic singing. So, you know, like getting into the nitty-gritty details, the riffing, the vibrato, the different tones, the vocal flips, just different tones and embellishments, essentially. So, you know, you're doing that
Aptly
in the
named.
program. Huh?
Aptly named.
Yeah,
The Tone and Embellishment Lab.
Yes, exactly. The Tone and Embellishment Lab, the Art of Dynamic Singing, I think is what it's called.
I think so.
And so you're teaching that, and you know, other things as well. But I love having you on the team. Everybody loves working with you, so yay! Today, what I would like to do is basically show everybody a little bit about your backgrounds, like where you came from, because you kind of did everything. You have a very versatile background, which is why you're teaching the Tone and Embellishment Lab, because you can do it all.
Yeah.
And then you'll actually coach me on a song too. We just picked Fallin, right? Alicia Keys. So if you want to see me failing at falling, come check it out, because your girl ain't a riffer, okay? But who better to have here teaching me how to do that, whatever that riff is, than Coach Bri, who teaches riffing. So yay. But before we get into the song, tell us a little bit more about how you got into music in the first place.
Yeah. Wow. I have been singing for as long as I could talk. I think like my mom will tell me that anytime I ask. She's like, you were singing before you could like even speak words. Like, I swear. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I started voice lessons pretty young. I was always involved in like choirs at school and things, and started lessons when I was 8.
Wow, that's super
for
young.
voice lessons. I know, it's really young. But I wanted to do them. We felt like I had an aptitude for it. And I was like, okay, I want to learn like more. Like I want to be a star. I want to be a singer. I want to be just like Taylor Swift on the stage, like playing out, like playing sold out stadiums, you know, like
Love it.
every little girl's dream.
Can't relate.
So I stayed really involved in music all throughout like my grade school years and living at home. And when I learned that you could go to college for music, I was like, this opens up a world of possibilities that I didn't like. I had no idea. So then I was thinking about going to music schools, and the really funny story is I swore off applying to any university that didn't have a pop program. Like I was convinced that I was like, opera and classical music is too stuffy. There's no way I'm going to study that boring stuff for 4 years. There's no way. And so I ended up at a school in Nashville, Tennessee, Trevecca university. And yeah, I had to study classical for the first 2 years that I was studying there. Anyways, like even doing like a pop degree. Like,
Interesting.
and that was my chosen like program when I was like entering that school. And 6 months in, I participated in our like campus's version of American Idol.
Yeah.
And which notoriously those are always like popularity contests. Like if a lot of people love you, a lot of people are going to vote for you. And I was like a first semester freshman. I didn't know anybody on campus besides like my roommate and my suite mates, like, and some people that I had classes with, but I didn't know that many people. Like I wasn't super plugged in, and I ended up winning, which was like, freshmen never win that competition because they don't know anybody and nobody knows them. So that was like, whoa, that was like a big moment for me. And I was like, wow. And then I was like, oh man, I got the competition bug. Yeah. And I had heard that there was an aria competition, which an aria is a classical song that is pulled from an opera. So it's like musical theater, but in the classical world, right? And I asked my professor about it, and he was like, we don't let underclassmen do it. But I was like, really, please, like, it would be so fun. Like, I don't care if I lose. I just want to like participate. I just want to see. Yeah. Because the other big draw about that competition was that it was outside adjudicators. Like the people who are going to be handing out the scores and giving feedback were not associated with our university at all. Oh, okay, cool. And they were I think they were from Austin P up in Clarksville, which has a great like classical vocal program. Like they're really well known for it. And especially their master's programs too. Okay. And so he was like, okay, I'll let you do it, but you have to tell me if it like gets to be too much vocally. Cause like for people that aren't classically trained to try and sing an opera, it's like a marathon. Like I'm telling you, I would sing that song and afterwards I'd be like, so when is my 6-pack gonna get here? Yeah. Like that was an ab workout. Yeah. And I ended up, so he let me do it and I got second place. Wow. And I was like, amongst peers that ended up going to like do their master's programs at like Shenandoah University, at Berkeley Conservatory, like all these really fancy schools, and are continuing to do like incredible work in classical music. And I was like, oh, now in the meantime, like professors have been talking to me like, have you ever thought about doing a classical, like switching to classical? And I thought they were all colluding with one another because I was getting that from like my choral director, from my private voice coach, and even from like my theory teacher. And at one point I asked, I was like, have you guys all been talking about this? And they were like, no, you've gotten this feedback from other like professors too. And I was like, yeah. So then I was like doing some thinking. I was like, oh man, I gotta do some reflecting. Cause at that time, like I was good at classical and I really liked it. And I saw the value in it. Like at least personally for me, like the 6 months of my first semester of studying exclusively classical music in my voice lessons versus like that really accelerated my growth as a classical and like as a contemporary like pop singer, you know. Anyways, this story's getting way too long, but I just thought about like, what do I really want out of a 4-year degree? And the ultimate answer to that after like I did some thinking was, I just want to grow as much as I can. I just want to become the best vocalist in 4 years that I can possibly be. And I was like, and I feel like the way that I can do that is classical. So that's training 100% of my voice. And I know that I could have like done a pop degree and gotten really good anyways. Yeah. But it was like also had a piece of my heart anyway. So I ended up graduating with my Bachelor of Music and Vocal Performance. So I did study opera. I had a lot of opportunities though to stay plugged into all sorts of different music. I was involved with our big band, jazz band on campus, and did a couple tours with them. I was a featured vocalist, which was really fun. Like learned how to scat. Got to do all sorts of just really cool stuff with them. And had a bunch of other like contemporary singing opportunities around campus as well. And then when I graduated, I got to do some work with the Nashville Opera, which was really special and really cool. Like got to be on the big like Performing Arts Center stage as part of the ensemble, like the chorus. And yeah, still one of the most magical productions that I've ever been a part of. Like it was just unreal. Wow. But since then I've been coaching. doing a lot of work with VoxTape Studios and enjoying teaching our students all over the globe. I also run a jazz band in Nashville. We are called Velvet Skies, and we do like weddings and corporate events mostly.
Your Valerie version, like the Valerie by Amy Winehouse. Because you made like a highlight reel for
our
promo. Yeah, exactly. So for booking. And you sang Valerie by Amy Winehouse, and your version, is stunning.
Thank you.
I love it. It was just a little part, but what I
was
heard
still
was
so
like,
proud of that video because too, like, that was improvised, like, on the spot. That was a live performance. I had never sung it that way before.
do you think that comes from your jazz band training that you had, the improv, or?
A little bit. And also just like learning through the years, like I was also part of a recruitment band with the university, and we were singing the same songs over and over and over and over and over again. And so I was like, oh, this is getting boring. How do I keep it interesting for me?
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
So when it was appropriate, I would enjoy challenging myself by like just connecting with the music. I feel like improvisation to get it to work really well. One, you have to know your song like backwards and forwards, and two, you just have you have to be in the moment and not think about, okay, what notes and where vocally, like just let it come over you.
Yeah.
And like trust it.
And I do think you have to know your instrument pretty well.
Yeah.
To know like what your boundaries are.
Yes. Yeah.
Because not everybody can do everything, right? Yeah. So knowing where your voice can go is good.
Yeah.
And so you have your jazz band, and you're doing like weddings and events and things like that. And then you also have your original music too.
I do. I just I spent so much of college learning how to sing everything because I didn't know what my voice was. And so it's been a really exciting journey over the last couple of years of like really finding my voice, not just like as an instrument, but like my voice through writing and expressing myself and telling my stories that way. So I did just release my very first EP in November of 2024.
Yes.
You can stream it. It's called Letters from a Past Self by Bri on all platforms. And I'm really
we'll
proud
link
of
to it so you can go check it out.
Yeah. That EP is such a passion project of mine. And it's like a little coming of age story. I was writing a lot of songs and working through like a lot of big moments and big memories from like growing up. And so it's a little compilation of some of those stories. And the really exciting thing is one of my favorite tracks on that EP is our epilogue that we wrote. That's kind of closing the door on the reflecting and turning and looking forward. And now I'm finally starting to turn and look forward. And I have a new song coming out June 17th called Over 25, where I'm getting into the beginning of my sister EP that's going to be called Letters That I Write Now. That's more reflections of where I am in my 20s and navigating early adulthood.
Yeah, isn't it fun, right? Yeah. Very cool. But the style of your original music
is not
jazz. It's not classical. It's neither of the things that you studied in school. It's more like, I would call it like singer-songwriter-y style.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
Very much so. Like singer-songwriter is I think the primary genre that I put when I was uploading it and everything. But it's very like soft acoustic driven, but still some elements of production in there.
Very storytelling.
Yeah, very story driven, very like narrative driven, which is exciting because Over 25 is bridging more into like true pop, which is also really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
So fun. So fun. And so you said that post-college for you has mostly been like finding your voice and like the stories that you want to tell and just really leaning into that. But it's so cool that you didn't have to work on, or I guess you did that work in college, but like creating the options, right? Because I feel like as singers, it's always, we have to find the balance between sticking to, what's best for us, like what really works for your voice, what your natural strengths are and all of that, right? But then also working on expanding your skills so that you have more options to sing the same note,
Yeah.
right? Which is kind of what you teach now in the Singer to Artist Transformation Program. It's like, all right, cool. Let's work on creating these different options so that you have different ways to sing the same note.
Yeah.
So you can expand your skill set, which is why, you're such a versatile singer based on your education and your background. You're kind of the perfect person to teach it. Because you can do it all.
Well, it's a whole lot of fun for me to teach because this is the stuff that I eat up. It's like, I'll use this example for students all the time of like, what am I going to learn? I get this like question at the assessments when students are graduating the first part of the program and they're getting ready to start lessons with me. Like, what do I expect? What are we going to learn in this part? And I'm like, okay, you know how Adele sings and you can tell that it's sad and it might make you cry and you don't even have to see the visuals.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she's so good at emoting and conveying nuances and emotions through just the vocal. And we're going to learn how to pick that apart and dissect every technique that she's using to make you feel that way. And then teach you how to
do it yourself.
Do all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nuance. It's exactly right. The details, the nuance. What makes the song come alive. It's what makes you sound more emotional. Yes. It's what makes you sound more natural.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, this person had a couple voice lessons and now they can sing, but like they're good, but it's not like, oh, wow. We want that feeling. And that's what you focus on in the tone and embellishment lab.
Yes.
The art of dynamic singing.
Yeah. I get this comment from students all the time that like, oh, I never knew that was a thing before. Like of course I've heard it a million times, but I had no idea that's what it was.
Yes.
Or that's why it was. And I just love.
Yes.
I love picking it apart.
Yes. And usually that's the part that everybody skips in their vocal journey. They like learn the vocal techniques so they can hit high notes, they can hit low notes, they can kind of like mix in the middle too. And then they go straight to artistry, right?
Yeah. Well, and one of my favorite things about like my college studies was of learning all these different styles was I would approach it and be like, okay, yes, it's a jazz song, but how do I sound like a jazz singer to sing this jazz song? Okay, that's a pop punk song. How do I sing this like a pop punk singer?
Yep.
Which is just so fun because now like I'll sing and people are like, you're such like, oh my gosh, are you like, do you do this all the time? And I'm like, no, I actually do everything. And they're like, what?
Yeah. It's a complete, like it's a whole separate skill that you have that I do not have. If I'm trying to sing musical theater songs, even though I studied musical theater, I cannot sound like a musical theater singer. I still sound like a pop singer.
Okay.
But within contemporary styles, I'm a little bit better. Can make it sound like a pop singer or a rock singer or a country singer or whatever. But there's classical. I don't have a day of classical training under my belt.
Oh my gosh, no, not everyone can do everything. And I feel like there's this misconception that people who are classically trained think that everybody should be classically trained and that that should be everyone's foundation for pop and contemporary singing.
I was kind of scared to ask you, like, do you think everybody should have classical training?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
And I'll tell my students that all the time. I'm like, please don't listen to my background and get scared that I'm going to say we have to sing like Carmel Ben. Like, I'm not going to ask you to do that because I don't think you need to. Like, I did it because it was the right thing for me. And it felt right, and I had an aptitude for it. Like, I was good at it. I really enjoyed it. And for me, it was helping me grow in all these other areas too. Now, as long as I was studying exclusively classical in my voice lessons, I was doing so much singing outside of my voice lessons in all these other styles and genres. And I had so many different resources and people that were helping to guide me and like give feedback in those styles as well. So that's like, I just feel so lucky that I got such a well-rounded, like vocal education in my time at that school. But I know that that's not always the case for everybody. Like that's not everybody's situation. And there are plenty of people at that school that I'm like, and absolutely, they should not have done a classical degree. Like, thank God they did a pop degree and not classical because that would have been a disaster. Yeah. So no, I don't think that everybody needs to do classical. Like, if it's right for you and it's going to help you grow, amazing. Like, it's all about.
You know, it's interesting. We get quite a few students who have a classical background and now they want to do pop or something contemporary and they're like, no matter what I do, I sound classically trained. I sound like a classical singer singing pop music, right? And I'm like, I got the girl for you. I mean, I know what the differences are, so I can help, but you're the expert. So I always send people with a classical background that want to sound more contemporary to you.
And I love working with those students.
Yeah.
Like it genuinely is so fun for me because we get to appreciate and enjoy like the classical repertoire that maybe we have had in common or just appreciate, and then can really like, I think it does help that I have that perspective of I did do classical training, but also like I think I can sound so convincing as a contemporary singer because that was my first background. Like there are people that I know that their lessons since they were kids have been in classical music, and that was never me. Like I didn't sing a lick of classical music until I was like doing college auditions. Yeah. And then like got to my university lessons and was doing that. But I was a recovering screamer. Like I was super bottom heavy, like belter, like no, we are the same. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I need to study classical now to like.
But classical helped me like really develop my head voice because for female singers, like for women who sing classical music, it is 100% in head voice.
Yeah.
I could go down to G below middle C in my head voice, and most pop singer, like most other women, can't do that because there's no reason for you to use your head voice down there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But then that is like where I really made the big strides in like developing then my mixed voice as well. And learning how to like really reverse the like, I'm going to push and like use my chest voice. Yeah. And like now I'm like, oh no, I default to a lighter tone.
See, I had to go through a vocal injury for me to realize that. For you, luckily, you realized that in college. Nobody told me. Or maybe they did, and it just didn't register with me because in my brain, I was like, if I want to be successful in music, I have to be able to belt like Beyonce and Christina Aguilera and Demi Lovato. And so maybe people told me like, hey, Laura, like maybe we should try this other thing so that you can do this better and more easily, more effortlessly, right? Let's work on this other thing. Maybe they did, and I was just like, absolutely not. I don't know, but it is kind of surprising that nobody was like, wake up! Like, shut up and stop, because you're doing yourself a disservice. So yeah, I had to end up with a vocal injury for me to realize that. Everybody's journey is a little different, you know?
It's hard, like, to be able, like, I think a lot of singers who are coaches now have been in a situation where we've heard singers that are like, you might be destroying your voice, but if I'm not your coach, like, it's not always my place to say something. And if there's one thing about singers, we all got an ego.
Oh, yes.
And it's really hard to hear that feedback and to be able to like see it for the truth and the kindness that it is.
Yes, 100%. It's hard to navigate that in lessons, right?
Yes, yeah. Because anytime that I've like, even in my own studies, like it's hard to receive feedback without like getting defensive. Not as much now that I'm like grown.
Yeah.
But it definitely when I was in like early voice lessons in high school, I was like, what? How dare you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm great.
Yeah. I always say, like, the less you know, the more you think you know. Yeah. And then the more you know, the more you realize, oh my God, I don't know anything.
There's so much that I don't know.
Yes, exactly. And when you're a teenager, you're that first part. You're like, I know so much, and I'm such a good singer.
Like, I've been given all these platforms because of my voice. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyways.
Yeah.
So
if you want to become a really great singer, you gotta have some ego death. Like you.
Yes.
That's a huge thing. It's hard, and it does not take like a lesson or two. It takes like years and maybe some therapy. Like
yeah. But singing is such a mental thing, so it's kind of the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I usually joke and say voice lessons are like half voice lesson, half therapy. We're just not licensed, but it is what it is. So tell me a little bit more about the work that you do with our students, like when you're teaching it. We kind of already talked about it, but what do you really enjoy? What do you always want to make sure every singer understands? Like,
oh, Okay, I love this question. What do I do? What do I enjoy? What do I want to make sure
sorry,
that
that's
every
like 3 separate questions.
understands? I'm going to work backwards.
Okay.
One thing that I want to make sure that every singer understands is that exercises and warm-ups are exercises and warm-ups, and they're not performance sounds. And it takes some time to get over that usually. But if you've never taken a voice lesson before, or if you've taken a voice lesson for 10 years and you start working with somebody new, those warm-ups and exercises can be really hard to go through because you're like, oh, they're such ugly sounds. And yeah, that's the point. They're functional. Like, runners run because they enjoy the runner's high. I know plenty of runners that hate spending 30 minutes stretching and doing their warm-ups before they go on their run. But they do it every time because the day that they don't, they're going to tear something.
Yeah.
And this is the stretches and the warm-ups that we don't like, you know?
Yeah.
But when I'm listening to those exercises and warm-ups, I'm not listening with a judgmental ear of like, oh, that sounded so beautiful, or that sounded so yikes. Like, I am listening for functionality. I'm listening for coordination. I'm listening for like, okay, what is the voice actually doing right now? What does the voice need right now to be able and ready to work on the song that we're going to work on? And a lot of, like, I love to pick out different warm-ups for all my students. Like, it's rare that I'm doing the same exercise or the same warm-up routine multiple times a day in like one day of teaching.
Yeah.
Because it's really dependent on who that singer is, what they need, what we're working on in voice lessons, and also what song we're going to work on that day. And are we working on a song that is like going to stretch us and push us into that like high mix land? Or are we working on a song where we need to really get into some low voice exercises and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I want every singer to know.
Taking the judgment out of the sound that you're creating. Yeah.
And I will be so honest and say that for the first, like, almost my entire freshman year, I struggled to, like, do the warm-ups in my lessons with my professor. And it was, like, the best vocal professor I've ever worked with, like, ever studied under. And I would come into lessons and be like, I warmed up before the lesson. Like, why are you making me do the warm-ups with you? And then I got over it. And then I understood that, okay, these are so functional, and this is what we're listening for. Because I would be so embarrassed. We'd go like, yo, yo. And I'd be like, I just sound like a man. Why do I have to sound like a man to do this? And he was like, no, you don't sound like a man. And also, it's not that serious. I'm literally listening so critically.
Yeah.
Not critical of you, but like to understand what you're hearing.
Yes, yes.
At the vocal fold level and like what a student needs. Anyways. What was the other questions? What do you do and what do I enjoy?
Yeah.
Okay, what do I do? Once we warm up, we'll chat a little bit at the beginning of my lessons. I love keeping up with my students, like, to a reasonable extent. I know we're here to sing. We'll warm up, and then we'll get into some song work. And that is, like, the lifeblood of our lessons, because it's getting to take what we're doing with vocal coordination exercises and applying it into your song so that we can, like...
Yep, that's a whole beast where it's like, I can do it in an exercise. Why can't I do it in the song, and vice versa? So we're going to record a whole episode on just that for everybody, because that's a whole big topic.
But we get to do a lot of that. So sometimes it's exercises and then we're working on the song the whole time. A lot of times exercises come back during our song work. And we take the words away and do all sorts of stuff. But I'm first listening for pitches and rhythms. If there's deficit there, that's the first thing we're addressing. If that's really solid, then we get to look at things like tone. Then we get to look at things like placement and approach and making sure that there's no tension. Sometimes the tension conversation happens when we're worried about pitch and rhythm. Yeah. Because sometimes that's what's impacting it. A lot of those things are really like all intertwined. And if there's an issue with pitch, it's usually not that this note is actually too high for a student. It's that there's something going wrong in how we're setting up that note. And maybe that's at the note itself, and maybe that's at the beginning of the phrase before you get there.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm not a sports person, but I'll use their basketball does like stats of like how many assists you get in a game.
Yes.
We're our own assists. Like, you have to be giving yourself the assist every time you start a new phrase as a singer. And that's like a really fun thing to work through with students, because it took me a long time to realize that, because there were a couple times my teacher in college would blow my mind. I'd be like struggling with a high note, and then he'd like, okay. Then he'd take me to the beginning of the phrase. I'm like, why are we working on this right now?
Yeah.
The high note is the problem.
Yeah.
But then I'd be like, okay.
Trust the process.
I'm trusting the process, and I'd fix whatever he told me to do, and then sing through the phrase. And the high note just fell out of my mouth. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Sometimes it's not what you think is the issue is actually the issue. It might be something else that's going on. Actually, probably more often. It's something
than not.
else. And that's what makes vocal training so hard.
Yes.
Because it's not just what meets the eye.
Yeah.
It's like, it could be anything.
It could be.
Yeah.
I gave homework to one of my students this week. We were working on a song, and I was like, I want you to go through your lyric sheet and highlight every single diphthong in the song. And it's not because every single diphthong is an issue, but when you're having issues, I want you to start by fixing the diphthongs.
Yeah.
And opening up those vowels a little bit more. She was like, oh, okay. She's like, no, that makes sense. And so I'm really excited to like meet with her again next week at our next lesson and check in on how that went. Because one thing that I like is also the most important thing for me as a coach to equip my singers with is, I'm not just here to make you better in this hour. I want you to understand what I'm listening for, so that you can start to listen and hear it and recognize it in your own singing, and be able to like catch what we're working on in lessons in your own practice sessions.
Yes.
Right? You can't just rely on your vocal coach to hear and catch and make you better.
Well, yes, because otherwise your practice sessions are not as...
They're not functional.
Yeah.
They're not productive. It's just like singing the same... honestly... And a lot of times that's going to make those practice sessions counterproductive, because you're going to keep making the same mistake, and you're not going to be addressing it.
Muscle
and you're
memory.
going to be drilling the bad habit.
Yes.
And then it's going to make it harder to undo when you come to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So we teach people how to like listen for like what we listen for as well.
Yeah.
And
which is so much of what the program that I'm teaching is listening and the critical ear and dissecting it all. So that's a huge point that I've been doing. And I think that goes back to what I was saying before. Like, that's the part that everybody skips, right? Not training your ears, not in the sense of like, match this note. Yeah.
Like, not that kind of ear training, right? But the little things, right? The nuances. And you have to be able to hear these things in your own voice and in other people's voices too, to really get the most out of your practice sessions. And Coach Emily, she always says, like, it's our job as voice teachers to work ourselves out of a job.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we do. Now,
I want my students to graduate lessons with me and be able to like keep making progress on their own.
Yes. Now, that doesn't mean that like you're ever like done or anything like that. There's always more to learn.
Yeah.
And it's always a good idea to work with a coach. I mean, I've been in voice lessons 15 years and I'm still taking voice lessons, right?
Yeah.
But at least you don't need us that much,
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, go ahead. I don't know what you're saying.
No, that's okay. No, to that point, like, we should, like, my role as a vocal coach is to help you make those changes faster, to help you make the correction more quickly and accelerate that growth.
Yeah.
But you should be able to, like, my goal is to equip you with all the tools you need to be able to keep making that progress on your own. Exactly what you were saying.
I love it.
Yeah. And then my favorite thing that I do in lessons is when we've got the pitches and rhythms, when we've got the placement and the tone, and we just get to work on artistry and making the song your own and adding nuances. And sometimes it's not even making somebody else's song your own. I love working with students that bring me their own music that they write. And we get to work on, okay, how do you bring your truest, best voice to this song that's you, that's also tension-free and getting like the best technical like bass line underneath you that's not going to compromise the authenticity of your voice and who you are, right? Like, I'm not trying to change what my artists sound like. I just want to help them be able to sing sustainably and have as many tools as they can possibly have in their tool belt
Yeah.
to bring to their artistry. Because if like any artist or any band that you've listened to for any amount of time, that sound is evolving every time.
Yes.
Over time. And sometimes, most of the times, in the ideal case, is that it evolves and improves and gets better and better and better. Like, there's artists, the saying that it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Like, people are having viral albums that they started putting music out 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And this album is the one because they spent 8 years putting out music and getting better every single time.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? And it's the same thing as singers. Like, I am 25 and I'm continuing to be better than I have been the year before.
Oh yeah. Same.
And as long as you can come into voice lessons with a student mindset, with a openness and a willingness to learn, there is no limit to how much you can grow. And there's never I don't think there's a peak. There's not gonna be a day that I'm this is the best I'll ever sound, and tomorrow I'm gonna start going backwards.
Yeah. Going back to what you said before, it's not your goal to change somebody's sound. And I actually hear this quite frequently especially with people that are already putting out music. Maybe it's not original music, but it's at least covers, or it is original music. And, they're starting to post clips and whatnot. They're like, I don't want to take voice lessons because, I don't want them to get the voice teacher. I don't want the voice teacher to get rid of the thing that makes me different from everybody. And I'm like, that if you're working with a vocal coach where they're doing that is their main objective, then that's not the right fit for you. And they probably have a different approach than what's right for you. You need to then, in that case, work with somebody who has more of that contemporary background and can appreciate the quirks.
Yeah.
And, make them come out even more. So you sound even more like yourself. But also at the same time, give you the other tools as well to expand.
Yeah.
That toolbox, right? So I love that. Cool. Yeah. Can you teach me how to sing, girl?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this.
Let's do it. All right. Let me pull up.
I'm gonna reset how I'm sitting. My legs are.
Yeah. I know, right? Let me pull up the track. So we're doing I Keep On Falling. Ooh. I don't know. What do you want me? Do you want me to just do first verse and chorus, or just
I feel
intro?
the karaoke track with the intro is weird. So unless you are I really want to work on the intro, I think we can just choose a verse and a chorus. Start from the music.
I do want to know how to do that.
Okay, let's work on it.
Do you know what the riff is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep on falling. Oh, you know what? I'd have to hear it to know it exactly, but I think I can do it.
Hold on. Yeah, that sounds great.
There was more though, I think.
Something. Yes.
Okay, can I hear it again?
Yes. What you did was beautiful. I think you're adding a couple notes compared to what she's doing, but I love it.
See, I would never go to that low note. That's why I'm stuck on it. Hold on. Can we listen to it at 0.75?
Yes.
So she does 3 pulses at that one and then goes down.
Sounds about right.
And out of love.
Yeah, I know that part. I can do that part. So, teach me.
Okay. So, you're good at breaking down riffs too, at hearing them for the notes that they are.
I just can't do it fast.
That's okay. We'll do it slow.
Okay.
And I would break this riff to learn it right now into 2 parts. Mm-hmm. That's part 1. Mm-hmm. And then the second, where she pulses the third time. And I think there's one more note in there that I'm missing. But that would be the second part. So Can you sing? Close. Okay, so I think it goes linear down until she gets to the bottom. No, I was wrong. Yes. And then it goes yeah, so yeah. Can you almost like tilt the vowel forward a little bit, like make it a little bit brighter, like lift it? Yes, and be careful when you're going down to like when you have that leap and it's a little bit of a bigger jump, your tone is falling back ever so slightly.
Okay.
Try and like take one hand and like follow it forward the whole time.
Huh. Am I going low enough?
Yeah.
Because now it doesn't feel so low anymore. I'm like,
right, it doesn't feel so low, but the pitches were perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm missing a note because it doesn't feel like I'm dropping down anymore because I feel like I'm going forward.
But that's going to be your superpower in terms of speeding up the riff.
Yes.
Right? If you let yourself drop, and this is something that I work with so many people on and work on myself with.
Yeah.
Is like, it sinks the rest of the riff. The second you fall back out of that like forward light placement, like the key to making it fast is keeping it light.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And then it's going to be crazy because we're going to get even lower and I need you to stay just that light.
Okay.
Can we hear the riff again just so I know that the second half of the riff is...
Like that?
Yeah.
So there's 4 notes and then a pulse.
And then a pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get that pulse really good, like almost I would make it a little bit brighter. We're going towards an E vowel instead of a tall I in. And it's okay to close down a little bit because it's getting low and we're having to keep it bright. So it's gonna have to close a little bit. Like I'm almost singing E.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, I'm getting nervous.
No, don't. Yeah.
Something like that.
It holds out. So there's 3 pulses on that middle one. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Did I do 2?
No, you did 3, but you did the third one too fast. So she holds it, right? Play it one more time, and let's go back to normal speed.
Yeah. And then you probably don't want vibrato on that last. Not at first.
Yeah, not at first.
Not during the pulsing, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. On that first half of the riff, it goes down one more before it pops back up to the ba-da-da.
Oh.
That note, which...
Am I doing it?
Yep. Okay.
I'm just kind of like running out of everything. And once I get to that last note,
That's okay.
you know? That's already already way better than anything I've ever done on that riff. So we're going in the right direction.
You're sounding great. The next part is she's like swinging it at different parts. So we've got the notes, we've got kind of the rhythms, but now let's really go grab the rhythm. So can we hear it at speed, like maybe twice? She goes, eh. Oh. Oh no, I'm second guessing that I like taught the notes wrong.
No, but I like so here's my feeling on this, and I love Alicia Keys, but she's not the most phenomenal riffer on this planet. And so with this riff here, I'm like, what you did, like what we're workshopping here is like, if an actual like really amazing, like if Yeba was doing this riff, it would be like
Yeba
that.
would be like, good night on this riff.
But I mean, it might be going more crazy. But
yeah.
You know, I feel like Alicia is kind of like almost like skipping a couple notes where I'm like, no, that note's almost like missing. So I feel like what you were teaching me just now is you're filling in the gaps. And I actually like that riff that we're doing better than what this is.
I do try and stay as true to riff as possible for anyone watching this being like, how dare they not learn the riff as is.
I mean, we can.
But we work with what we got.
She's just skipping a couple notes. Like the overall shape of it is there.
Yeah.
We're just adding a note or two.
Let's listen at 0.75 again. Slow it down. No, I stand by our notes that we picked. They're all in there.
Are they all in there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, it's just not super clean, I guess, what she's doing, right?
Yeah.
And again, Alicia Keys is a phenomenal singer. Like, I'm not like throwing shade at Alicia. It's just that riff is not perfectly clean. And maybe if we listen to like a version from today, because this is a 15-year-old song, it would sound different. You never know.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It's kind of hard to hear all the little notes in between, because it's not like she's scooping between some of the notes slightly, so it makes it harder to hear the different notes. But anyways, what we're doing, the rhythm.
So I keep on falling in.
Oh, good luck trying to do this at the tempo.
We're doing it at a slow tempo.
I keep on falling.
Okay, hold on. Go back to the start. Can I hear you sing, I keep on falling.
I keep on falling.
Good. Okay, the second you get to on and that N is going further back, can you make the N more dental?
I keep on falling. What?
Yeah. I keep on. Your tongue is really high on the ah of N because you're so ready to give the consonant. I keep on. Versus I keep on.
I keep on.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I keep on
falling.
on falling.
Yeah. Keep your tongue out of the way. It's like it's ready for the consonants, but focus on the vowels.
Okay.
And let them have their moment for a little bit longer. We're not going to miss the consonants, even if they're like that fast.
Yeah. I keep on falling.
Yeah.
Like that?
There you go. And now I'm hearing your tone be so much like, one, consistent. And it's like staying in this brighter, lighter space that's not going to make you push and not going to sink the riff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go like, I keep on, because then good luck trying to do the riff, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I keep on falling. I keep on falling.
Yeah.
On. I keep on falling. I hear the difference.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what am I changing to do it? You know, it's like, oh. It's hard.
For the consonant thing, like the thing that you are literally changing is where your tongue is in your mouth.
Okay.
When you're like sitting there ready to give the N for on and Fallin.
Yeah.
And even for the L's, like your tongue, even all the way to the back of your mouth, is sitting really high because you're ready to, like the tongue touches the back of the top teeth to make it N. Na 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 na. But keep it as low in your mouth as possible.
Okay.
I keep on, because what we really need is space for those vowels to float. But if your tongue's taking up all that space,
yes,
it's gonna get heavy.
Okay. I keep on falling. Yeah?
Yeah.
Am I doing it?
Yeah.
Yay, I'm doing it. Woo, okay. I keep on.
That was great.
I keep on. It was,
No, it was the first time. Yeah. Shit. Don't second guess yourself. It's gonna feel weird because I think this is like
different.
it's different. Trust, let it feel different.
Okay.
It's okay.
I keep on falling.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, you got it. You had all the notes.
Okay, yeah. I was like, how many pulses am I doing? 3 pulses. Okay. No, too much. I keep on falling.
Yeah.
Was the on okay? It was
On,
a little close.
on is getting a little bit nasally.
Yeah. I keep on falling. That's that feels different. Okay. I keep on falling.
Yeah. Okay.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I shall keep practicing this. But honestly, that was not bad.
That was great. That was floating the whole time. And I like you saying that so smart with the riff. Of you slowed it down to how slow you needed to get the rhythms and all the pitches right?
Yes. Not just a matter of speeding it up.
Trying to sing a riff at tempo a million times in a row is going to do nothing except for keep singing it just as sloppy as you were before. Right? You have to slow it down. It's the most annoying part of any type of music lessons. And your professor and your teacher is going to be like, and now let's take the metronome down to 65 beats per minute and let's go ahead and try that. And you're like,
all the time.
Duh, duh, and they're like one bar, one measure at a time. Ba, 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 ba. And it's every kid's nightmare. Truly. But it's also proven like by studies and proven by so much experience to be the singular most effective way to learn and retain and to keep it clean when you speed up, because that riff isn't so amazing because it's like the coolest riff you've ever heard in the world. It's awesome because it's clean and it's fast.
It is fast.
And that's what we love about riffs is when they're fast. But that they're also clean, that you're like, oh my gosh, I can hear everything she's saying. She's singing. And then you go and you try and do it and you're like, I can't necessarily sing every note that she's singing, but I know that I hear all of them. It's like when you listen to like a rapper,
hearing all the words,
and I'm like, how do I understand everything that you just said? And yet I could repeat none of those words.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you what, but I understood all of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or like listening to podcasts at like 1.5 speed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's me. I
That's
never
my
watch
favorite.
anything
Audiobooks.
regular speed.
1.5. Let's go.
We got shit to do.
Well, I just, for me, like my ADHD brain, if you're talking too slow, I can't stay focused.
Yeah. No, that is very fair.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna skip ahead here a little
Okay.
bit. With you, sometimes I love you. Woo! Let me try that again. All right. Out of love with you, sometimes I love you.
Nice.
Sometimes you make me blue. Sometimes I feel good. At times I feel used. Loving you, darling.
Okay, I'll pause you right there.
makes me
When you came in on Lovin', your voice and tone was way different than before.
Yes. So
Did you hear that?
I'm going too wide. I'm going too spready. I'm going too shouty. That's the main thing I'm working on these days. Not going love, but more loving That's so hard for me to do.
Right, because when you're learning how to sing high notes, we talk about get brighter, get brighter, get brighter, sing
Open
through
your
a
mouth,
smile,
drop your jaw.
open up more, but too much of a good thing is a bad thing.
Yes.
And we went exactly what you said. It was too wide.
Yep.
And that's kind of, we had too much horizontal space and not enough vertical space. And we want a good balance of both so that we have a nice rounded tone.
Yeah.
Which you were doing, like you were killing it with a rounded tone before. Like,
oh, but I on the second try. The first try, whatever the word is, the love, it was also spread on
also
the first
because
try.
love,
Yeah.
that's a bright vowel.
Well, and then it's love in you again. It's the same word again.
Yeah.
God darn it.
You already know like what you need to adjust like up here. My tip for you going through this passage again is when you get to that moment, use the L. It's a pitched consonant. Ooh, love ya. So start your pitch with the L and also give yourself a little turbo boost with your chord. Like,
Emily said the same thing when we were recording another episode this morning. She's like, girl, use your chord.
that's incredible because I've never been in a lesson with her, so I love that.
Yes.
I always like to think of it as like you know when you're playing Mario Kart,
Yeah.
and then you like run
Yes,
over
I
like
do.
the mushroom, like it's like you use the mushroom,
Yeah.
and in singing the mushroom is whoop. I'm just
Yes.
gonna like pull the stomach in a little bit. Really important to know that we're not like, but like,
and she specifically said lower abs.
Yes.
And that worked for me. So it's not
Yeah.
like getting too squeezed.
it's not squeezing here because we don't want to like let the rib cage
Yeah.
come and be involved in that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let me try that again. Out of love with you. Sometimes I love you. Okay, well,
Good pause right again.
So focused on
That's
it.
okay. I kind of knew that was. I was suspecting that would go that way because of what I heard leading up to it.
Oh, yeah. What was I doing?
You, and it was like a little bit too like muscly, like a little bit too like chesty.
Yes.
I want to like almost like it was underneath the ceiling back here. And it wasn't that it was like necessarily like you. It wasn't so far in the back of your throat, but it was still under that ceiling.
Yeah.
So we got to come out forward from underneath that.
You, not you, you. So a you, not a you.
Yeah.
Out of love with you. Sometimes I love you. Sometimes you make me blue. Sometimes I feel good. Ooh. At times I feel used. Loving you, darling, makes me so confused.
Yeah. That went way better that time.
Was way better. And then da. So I'm like, okay, because like I've been doing these sessions with you and with Emily and with Kate and like with everybody, and so everybody says something else, which is why I love our team and what we can give our students, like as their experience. You get to work with different people throughout your time with us, and that's going to give you so much to pull from. So now I'm balancing, you know, the core thing. I'm balancing the vowel, like the not spready vowel thing. And Kate last week told me, girl, you're getting so twangy. And I'm like, darling, like loving you, darling. On darling, I was like, it's getting too bright, right? So I'm like having all these things in my brain.
I love hearing about all like what we're working on.
Yeah.
Or like what.
And it was
they
all
were
different
saying.
songs,
Yeah.
right? But it translates into everything.
So that gave me an idea of like, okay, the root problem really is that we're dealing with it too bright. So can I hear you sing that like with the lowest larynx? The entire thing? I love you. Sometimes I love you. Not dark enough. Sometimes I love you. Sometimes I love you. I feel really weird. I know. It's okay. Do a little bit more and get through the like, loving you, darling. Sometimes I love you. Sometimes I feel blue, but I feel loving you, darling.
makes me so confused.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now we'll go back and like sing it normal. Also, when you're doing the riff on Darlin', Darlin', you're adding like a little extra, like, do you know that you're doing
pulse.
that?
Yeah, probably. Loving you, darling, darling.
Yeah.
Loving you, darling.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do it again?
Darling.
Darling. Yeah, I'm adding a little trill in there, I guess. Okay.
If you can, and that's actually such a common thing that I hear with especially singers that tend to be beltier, right? That love belting. That's what happens in every single riff that they're doing. So, and that's fine because we can use it, and I'm not saying we never want to use a trill like that.
Yeah. But
if it's happening unintentionally, that's a sign to me that we don't have as much of flexibility as we think we do.
Yeah. I just never was paying attention to it. Loving you, darling, darling. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Be careful on that half step down.
Darling.
Yeah, one thing a professor said to me in college that like has stuck with me is when you're going down the stairs, like physically, like the voice is like going down like this, and it's very stepwise. I want you to visualize that you are actually climbing up the stairs with those notes. Darling.
Darling.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Darling. Yeah, I'm just trying to.
I've never heard you riff like that.
Because I don't riff.
That was awesome.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Lots to like absorb now. Okay, the riffing was super helpful. The vowel, I keep on falling, staying on the vowel, not getting to the consonant too quickly, opening that up. Then the spready, right? When it gets to the beltier parts, don't get too wide, too spready. Keep it more focused. Drop your larynx to reduce the brightness. What else did we say?
The pitched consonant for the L.
The pitch consonant, yeah.
And giving a little turbo boost. So like, and
boost.
really what we're talking about with the turbo boost is that we're starting on the breath, which you know that, but I just really wanted to like outline that for anybody listening and watching that
It's not the muscling, it's the breath.
It's not the muscling, it's the breath. It's the love, and not loving you, darling.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, hello. Like, now there's just like all this sound coming out and I'm not even trying.
Yes. Yes. That's the whole point. Oh my gosh. That's the whole point of voice lessons. We work so hard up here, and if you're just listening and not watching, have my hands on my temples. Like, we are working hard up here so that we don't have to work hard
in the throat.
Right? Like that. I think I had a breakthrough like that in a voice lesson in college, and I remember that. And he was like, and I was like, that is the loudest I've ever sounded, and I didn't even feel like I was singing. What the hell did you do to me?
Yeah.
Like, what just happened? And he was like, yeah. That's the one.
Oh my God.
Like, I think I cried because I like surprised myself so much. I was like,
what is going on?
Yeah, but that's how singing should feel.
Yes. Like, because I feel like, and this is a misunderstanding, I guess, on my part. When I was little, everybody was like, oh, like singing is really hard. And I'm like, all right. It's okay
technically.
if it feels physically like that. To me, translated as it's okay if you feel like you're going and like it's like stuck in the throat, and like everybody says singing is hard. Like, all right, but that's not what it is. It's we're working hard to make it feel like we're not working hard. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the first part in the Singing to Artist Transformation Program with Coach Emily, how to sing effortlessly. Yeah. So that when you get to riffing with you and like vibrato and all this other stuff, you actually have a chance at getting it because you can't start with that. Yeah. That's why your part is number 2, not number 1 in the program. Anyways, that was so helpful, Bri. I'm so glad. That was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe she can riff.
You can riff.
Maybe she can learn.
You know all the steps. It's just a matter of like getting the approach right every time. Yeah. Which is hard.
Yes. And it's going to take a little bit of practice and a little bit of time. And my impatient little brain is going to be like, shit. But it's going to be okay. I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah. If you want to listen to Bri's music, please do, because it's amazing. It's in the description, in the session notes, the episode notes, whatever it's called. You know where to go. Go check it out there. Bri Corbett. Am I saying that right? Corbett.
It's spelled Corbett, so that might help the listeners find it easier.
You know, we've worked together for almost 5 years, and I say your last name wrong.
Okay.
Whoopsie! It's fine. Anyways, go check out Bri's music. If you want to work with Bri or any of the coaches on our studio, at our studio too, the link to book a session where we get to meet each other, the sessions with me personally, we meet each other, we figure out, all right, what do you need? What does your voice need? Who is the best fit for you from our team? What makes the most sense? All of the above. Book a session. I can't wait to sing with you. Love it. Anything else, Bri?
I feel like a lot of people get weird that they're singing their first lesson with you, but they're not taking lessons with you. Trust that she is like the people guru. Laura is you are so good at teaching those first lessons and like helping really find the root cause of what is going on and what people want and really making that plan. And now you've hopefully gotten to meet our whole team, like for our listeners, so you can hear a little bit more about each of our teaching styles and stuff. But Laura really knows which coach to put you with.
You know, I always say that I play doctor.
Yeah.
I like figure out, all right, you describe your symptoms to me, or I hear your symptoms and whatever, and I play doctor, and then I'm like, all right, this is the medicine that you need, but I am not the medicine. The doctor is never the medicine, right? So I play doctor, the coaches are the medicine.
Yeah.
So you're the medicine. I love it. Thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. You know, sometimes people are like, but I want to work with you, Laura. And I'm like, I love you so much for that. Thank you. And I appreciate your trust. Please trust me that I will pick the right person on our team for you to do what I can and even more. That's usually what I say. So anyways, you got nothing to lose with that first session. Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bri. This was so fun. We'll catch you on another episode.
Can't wait.
Thank you for listening. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.